Of course, my name is Jerry Barilla. I'm 76 years of age. I am currently president of Historic Fort Steuben and also president of the Public Library of Steubenville, Jefferson County. I just closed my retail store, Frank and Jerry's Furniture and Appliance, which was in operation for 60 years. 50 years of those 60, I was the sole owner. Okay, what I've done for the city of Steubenville is we have innovative summer concerts that we have going on every summer, 2 months of outdoor concerts that are free to the public. We draw every age bracket, every economic status to downtown to spend an evening on the banks of the Ohio River enjoying family music in an outdoor setting. That's been a huge economic impact because people that are coming down here, maybe 1,000 people on a Thursday night, will come down, and not only they come here, but they eat in the local restaurants. So there's an impact as far as economically wise to support that. Then we are in charge of our murals. We took that responsibility on. We have some 25 murals around our city. Nutcracker Village, the Calvin Jones statue, and being president of the library, we're undergoing a $4 million addition to the library. And there's many things that we've done around here as far as like putting new fencing up, the flagpoles that are around the fountain, the veterans flagpoles. That was initiated by a thought of mine, and we now have 8 flagpoles out there. We just had a presentation of flags being changed there this afternoon. I decided to run for mayor because the closing of my store allowed me the opportunity, the time to run for mayor, and then I feel that I have a responsibility to my community and my grandparents and parents that lived here and grew up here and had a business, and to me, I need to give back to those people that supported me in my business all these years. It's a give back. I feel really, truly obligated to do as much as I can to make our city a better place to live, and I'm just committed to that. My work here at Historic Fort Steuben is nothing but about giving back to this community. It's not about, oh, the fort did this, the fort that. The more people we draw downtown, the more families are down here, the more families that are experiencing good things. I feel that's my obligation to Steubenville, Ohio, to make us a better place, a more friendly place, a faith-based community. And we all want to live in a safe, nice, cozy place. We're not going to go no. Listen, the fire in my belly, I might be 76 years old, but that fire in my belly is 18. I'm on fire for Steubenville to be the best place that it possibly can, better than in the past. And that is going to say yes to everything. I'm not going to go down that no path. I'm not going to be the negative person. If I'm in that mayor's office, it's always going to be positive. And I am going to make sure that I can communicate and drive people that are here, that have the ability to make change, to make the change. There are people that are here that can make the change, but there's no one inspiring them enough to get them on board to do this. The Grand Theater, we're trying to get that renovated and up and running, but there's such a negative about it that, well, I'm not going to put $1 million into it as an investor and downwards located and it fall apart. Invest $1 million and it's not there. We're going to make it happen there. It may take a while, but nothing is easy. I look at life, I look at the difficulties as good because that's the challenge. I don't want to run from here to here and it's easy. I want to go through the mud. I put my sweat on this ground for this city, and I do it every day, and that's true. Out here, I do a lot of work out here. I'm a worker. I'm not a talker. And my sweat has been on this ground for as many years as I've been involved in Steubenville, Ohio, and it'll continue until I die. I just got that fire in me. There's no way that I'm going to go down this negative path. And the challenge to me, if you follow Mr. Moses in the Bible, the challenge is that journey. It's the journey that counts. The end is fine, but it's the journey is where the reward is.
Where's that?
In Steubenville, we do have an abundance of government housing. And we also have an abundance of rental housing. There's almost a 50-50 ratio of ownership and rental. You need to have ownership of homes to be responsible. And sometimes in neighborhoods that are deteriorating, there has to be a way to take, say, a home that's vacant or in a process of maybe being sold, to be able to offer those homes to possibly people that could restore them. I know in one city, instead of tearing down homes, they took on the idea where instead of spending $15,000 to tear a house down, we're going to advertise for artists. We're going to give you $10,000 to move to Steubenville, and this house is going to be yours. Here's $10,000. You have to take that house in 5 years, have it renovated to another level. And it's going to be monitored every year as to how the process is going. And at the end of that 5 years, that house is yours free. And these homes that were like worth $15,000 became a $100,000 home, because now you gave incentive to a person that maybe didn't have the money to pay $100,000 for a home, but you gave an incentive to somebody that has the awareness of fixing things up and the drive to do that, for the possibility of ownership in a relatively short period of time. That's one way you can get homes to be put in responsible people's hands. Vacant lots need to be manicured and offered to a neighbor. Say, this lot can be yours for $50, $100. It's your lot. You could make it into a herb garden. You could make it into a little playground area for your children to live around this section. This could be the playground. You could make that lot maybe a pad to park cars. You get so many cars that there's more cars than for one house. You have now 3 or 4 cars in one house. Mm-hmm. But you don't have the room on the street to park. Well, maybe you can make a parking pad on these empty lots where people could get off the street to make the road look, the highway or the street rather, look more presentable, cleaner, instead of cluttering with cars and cars and cars.
Would.
On the drug problem in Steubenville, I would enforce more of the law enforcement presence in the areas that the drug activity is taking place. That's probably the fastest, quickest way to start this movement out of this drug culture, is having a greater police presence. And they are now having a task force that has been developed to frequent these neighborhoods on a more consistent basis, so that the buyer of drugs may become more hesitant to come to purchase drugs at a particular site. So that you have police presence, I think that kind of tends to keep away people coming to that area to purchase drugs. I always thought that the police department was not rotating through neighborhoods like they should, in my view. And so this is what's going to happen. As I said, if a police car is running past, you tend to straighten yourself up better. I think if you can have surveillance of drug activity more on a consistent basis, that tends to have them disappear. I'm going to go away from authority if I'm a drug dealer or if I'm a user. I don't want to be around where I could possibly be apprehended and taken into custody. So I think just that's a very important step. The more authority presence will drive activity to another area. The issues of the drug culture and opioids, these are national issues. The President of the United States, it's on his plate. He's calling it a national epidemic. Every state seems to be affected by this. This is a major cultural problem. To ask a person running for the mayor or one individual, they have the answer to this question, it's really an impossible question to really answer it in a way that you can say, this is how it's going to be and we're going to be there. It's going to take cooperation on many levels: schools, churches, organizations, families. We have to all get on the same page with this. This is our future. These kids are our future. I look at sometimes other countries. You take Japan, or those kids are, they're striving to get ahead. They're moving. Their whole being is to make their place better. We're fooling around with drugs, and we should be focusing on bettering ourselves. How we got into this situation, I really, it's really weird. I mean, when I grew up and we played games and stuff, we didn't get into the drug business. Why would I be taking pills to make me feel better? I feel better on a ball field. I feel better being around other people than just doing things of coloring books or whatever it is, bicycling. We lost that whole innocence of having fun without getting into this drug culture. But it's a huge thing. But and maybe last night I tried to say it, education. To me, most everything is accomplished through education. Not in high school. You start out in grade school, elementary school. Start on this idea what drugs are about, what they do to you, how they affect your family, and all the aspects of what drugs are not desirable. And if that consistent, it's like in advertising. The thing about advertising in the retail business, you don't put an ad in once a week or once every month. It's consistency. Then people get that message. Consistent educational programs with our youth does have a major effect on how they look at it at the end of the day. But it's all about, as I said, that consistent reinforcing to try to stop this happening. I just feel strongly about the education part of it. Image is extremely hard to change. Once you have acquired a negative image, to try to climb out of that, you do as much positive things that you can. And I think even though that's out there nationally, this Nutcracker thing is also becoming a national entity, and that can overcome that negativity of being a place that's maybe crime-ridden, it's unsafe. Because when you get 24,000 people down here at night, 11 o'clock at night, grandchildren outside, no police protection, they're here. So that overpowers that negativity of Steubenville being a bad place. For me, to attract people here is having the image of a safe, family-based community. I want to live in a place that provides me good educational facilities, hospital facilities, highway accessibility, a family environment, a faith-based environment. I want to live there. I don't have to necessarily work there, because in today's world, people travel half hour, 45 minutes, an hour to go to work and return back to the place they want to live. The place that I want to live is after work. I want to go down to a cool town, downtown, where I can enjoy eating out, not in one restaurant or two. I'd like to eat out in 10 different or 20 restaurants in your downtown. I want to get downtown to a place that has entertainment 250 days out of 365 days a year, where there's something going on, there's activity, art shows, pottery shows, any kind of craft shows that could be taking place. Those are where we all want to hang out. I have visited 6 cities, Marietta, Kent, Ohio, Medina, Worcester, to see what those cities, and they all have revitalized themselves. They've all changed. Worcester has 26 restaurants in their downtown. 26. That's a huge amount for a town of 26,000 people. I have viewed many webinars in this room, hours and hours of across this country, how towns have been in peril and how they've turned themselves around. And it was all about activities in towns, to create activity, because activity brings people, and with people, eventually businesses follow. Those towns are filled up. Their downtowns are all occupied because this activity that's happening 250 days a year. Cambridge, Ohio, they have a program there called Dickens. And Judy and I, my director here, went there just the last day it was open in January, and I was so thrilled to see what was there. So we went into a bake shop, and I asked the proprietor there, so how do you do with this Dickens? He said, we make as much money in 1 month as we do in a half a year of business in 1 month. That's how the impact has on our business. So on the drive back, I'm saying to Judy, what can we do in Steubenville to get this? I mean, why can't, what they're doing, what can we think about? Well, we came back, it was on a Saturday. Sunday, I'm down here after Christmas, tearing down our Christmas. And if you go out there in the lobby right now, there's a showcase of nutcrackers. And I'm on the ground, on my knees in the big room, taking this display down, and sitting in front of me, I put out 8 nutcrackers. So as I looked at them, and I said, well, I have a box for one of them, and it's out there now. So I went and got in my office and brought the box out and opened it up to put this nutcracker in, and there's a story in this box about nutcrackers. So I read that story, and I turned and I looked at these little guys in front of me. There was a fisherman, a baker, a police officer, a army officer. They were all there, and I looked at them and I said to myself, wow, we could do this in Steubenville. We could be nutcrackers here. We could be the Nutcracker City. And so that was on a Sunday. Monday, Judy came to work, and I said, Judy, I think I have the idea what we can do to make Steubenville like Cambridge, nutcrackers. So I showed her this box, and she read the story, and the nutcrackers were in my office, and she said, you know, that could be, we could be that. So when Mark Nelson, we had a meeting with him, and we presented that to Mark, and that night he went home. He put a nutcracker image on the wall, and he asked his family, what do you think about this? And they gave all different opinions about this thing called nutcracker. Well, then out of our surprise, maybe a month later, he comes in with a prototype of a 6-foot nutcracker. And that's where it began. Now, we went from nothing in the state of Ohio to number 6th ranked of cities to visit for Christmas. Steubenville, from 0 to 6. We drew people not only from Ohio, but Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, Virginia, Maryland, to come here to see those nutcrackers. It was a phenomenal event that took place because it's related to family, it has fun. You can expand it to from 23 nutcrackers, we're up to 150. You could go to how many, 500 or whatever it could be. This town could be not only Christmas, but it could be a year-round attraction for Steubenville. We did more business in that little gift shop, again, in that 1 month than we do our whole half a year in there.